A very, very good evening to all of you here today. I'm Cicely George, the Executive Director of TiE Dubai, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome each of you for today's session, which I believe is super, super valuable for the founders who wears multiple hats. These sessions that we do are actually created with the founders at heart. We come across various shapes, sizes, forms, and of founders wearing all the hats to get their company up and running and to scale them up from wherever they are. It's very important to understand that one cannot be good at everything as founders as much as you want to. So accessing these specific pieces of expertise through the gig economy can actually really be a catalyst for your company building process. Otherwise, it can be expensive, but if you access it through the gig economy, you're able to control and manage your budgets and solve your problems sooner. So we'll really talk briefly today about how the gig economy can come in and solve your problems at your varying budgets, and you can fix it in the time period as per your project or contract and however you want to spend that time. We'll focus on nailing your pitch deck and your GTM strategy. So we've divided it into two parts. It'll be interactive. There will be some division, group, and flip charts, and it should be very interesting. Before we start, a couple of items on our agenda. First and foremost, I would like to call on our charter member, our Director of Events, on the TiE Dubai board for 2024-2025, Bianca Gracias, to share a few words. She, I have to say, is someone who sleeps and breathes law. Absolutely passionate about it. Do follow her on LinkedIn for a lot of legal learning and with enough humor to make people really understand the practical and applicable side of law. She does not speak legalese, is an avid supporter of the SME community, is also the managing partner at Crimson Legal, partner at Suits and Advisors, and co-founder of Obseco Technologies. It is our pleasure to have you on board with us, literally.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I have to say I caught guard, a little off guard, but I know she made me sound like a stand-up comedian, but I'm not. In my day job, I'm absolutely serious and quite, Anyway, it's so nice to be here. We're looking forward to having a host of events that are going to be quite as interactive and interesting and engaging as this event that you're going to experience today. And if you have any suggestions of what speakers we could bring on board, the types of events we could curate, please come and have a chat with me after the event. I'd love to have inspiration from you, your feedback, your thoughts. Even if you have thoughts and feedback about this event, please reach out to me anytime, whether it's today or during the sessions through the TiE community. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to meeting you after.
Thank you, Bianca. Before we get started, I would like to share a little bit about TiE Dubai. In a nutshell, TiE is an organization that started as a conversation 30 odd years back in Silicon Valley. And today it has over 63 chapters in 12 countries. So how TiE functions is on 5 main pillars: mentoring, networking, education, funding, and incubation. While the TiE global reach is there, we as a chapter focus on the region, what the founders and the dynamics here are. So we contribute to the ecosystem here. There are some great programs which we run for all entrepreneurs here in the UAE, across the MENA. The mentorship program, extremely beneficial for companies that are looking for support from extremely successful, seasoned entrepreneurs who will actually join you for a certain period of time. It goes on for a year, where you will be mapped to a mentor and you will share your journey and try to scale from wherever you are to the next level. So we do launch it in cohorts. We have one that should come out in June, July. Do keep your eyes out for that. We have another amazing program called the TiE Women MENA program, helping women entrepreneurs, where Krishya, our TiE Women MENA program lead, will actually talk a lot more about it. The applications are going on. She will share a bit, and Krishya.
Thank you, Cicely. So, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all take out time for today's workshop, which is a very important part of an entrepreneur's journey. I'm sure we're all looking forward to learn from the experts and how to make this juggling act easier and leverage the gig economy that we are in today. I would also like to take an opportunity to talk about our flagship program, Thai Women MENA Program 2024. Thai Women MENA here is a collaborative community where we believe in being a part of the bigger game to make sure that the deserving founders are able to access high-quality network of our charter members, continuously working towards supporting female entrepreneurs through mentoring, workshops, focusing on their earning pitches, and connecting them with potential investors. There are stories of Thai women founders getting funded by a jury member and another one while just being a part of the cohort that year. With this program running in its 5th year, we want to make it bigger and better to create that impact and make the difference happen. At almost every step, the founders are mentored, which in my opinion is invaluable. We make sure that they have access to sometimes more than one mentor, depending on their specific challenges. Whatever it may be, we are really here for them to be with them throughout their entrepreneurial journey. It is indeed a life-changing experience with this program, so I really urge you founders to apply with the QR code that is here on screen and become a part of this esteemed program for life. So do look out for us on social media like Insta, FB, LinkedIn, YouTube. Thank you. And I'll go ahead with getting the founders. Okay, so before we start the discussion today, I'd like to take the honor and introduce one of our successful entrepreneurs from the Thai Women Cohort 2023. Please welcome Marina, founder of Diageo.
Thank you, Krisha. Hello, everyone. Marina, founder of Diageo. We're a company that is doing women's health diagnostics, helping them to understand their underlying conditions about infertility, menopause, postpartum issues, all that's unfortunately could be very common for women, and that's are being undiagnosed with the traditional solutions today. We are a young startup at the seed stage right now, so for us, it was a really great opportunity to be joining the Thai Women Program, because as a young startup, the most important for us is the time and focus, right? And these are the two things that are very nicely captured if there is a mentor or mentors who can advise you and help you make the right choices. And since I'm a solo founder as well, happen to be, for me, having that person or those people to whom I can talk and regularly exchange my thoughts, address my challenges, that's so important, and I cannot stress the importance of it anymore. So for me personally, I did have 2 mentors. They were also global, happened to be a global Thai, and we went with them through a very practical journey. So particularly, they helped me understand the hiring strategy. Again, for the early stage startup, it's important because you don't want to overspend the money. So how to, tackle certain issues. They helped me a lot to understand how to work with the product market fit, specifically because in women's health, as I mentioned in the beginning, you may have different segments, so you need to choose wisely which one to focus first. And in this regard, because the mentors were from the industry and from the startup experience themselves, like exited founders, they already knew how to go through that journey. So they helped a lot. And in general, I couldn't underestimate also the point that they helped me psychologically. Again, being a founder is not only a full-time job, but a full-time stress. So just being able, to reflect on certain things with them and share the troubles, the challenges, the cups, that's a very, very much, rewarding thing. So that's my experience. What else can I say? Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate being the alumni of this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. And I must say you're doing a fabulous job. So we have one more woman founder who I would like her to come and talk about her journey. She's Mishti from Sante Self-Care. I'm sure most of you met her outside. She has some amazing skincare products, so please do take a look.
Thank you, Krishya. Hi, everyone. I'm Mishti. I'm the CEO of Sante Self-Care. We are a holistic, slow beauty brand rooted in aromatherapy, Ayurveda, and Reiki. We're a generational brand started with my grandmom in terms of her knowledge that went into my mom, who's now 65, and she's been in the holistic healing beauty practice for the past, I would say, since she was 16. So 50 years dedicated to this business. She started her journey in Dubai 40 years ago, where she opened a salon and where she firsthand learned the pain points that women were facing. Being a healer herself, she was able to understand what women were going through, and men, the husbands of the women that she met. And through that, she came up with a product line that helped women from head to toe, whether it was for hair fall, skin issues, perimenopause, menopause, you name it, muscle pain, fatigue, all of that. She took her passion and turned it into products that is now called Sante. It was launched about 13 years ago, where she single-handedly stood at pop-up markets day in and day out, healing people. And it was a passion project. She ran it as a mom and pop shop, a passion project where she would stand day in, a woman would come up to her and say, I have this pain point and that pain point, and she would give products. If someone came up to her and said, I don't have the money, she would say, that doesn't matter, that's not what I'm here for. But I would say during COVID, my parents stayed with me, and that's when I realized what she had built was absolutely unbelievable. Kid you not, the phones were ringing off the hook because they were only at pop-ups, but now people weren't able to access her product. There was no online shop. They were doing deliveries themselves, my mom and my dad, and I was like, Mom, you're sitting on something that everyone needs to be a part of and everyone needs to get. And that's when I decided to join her to spearhead growth in the region and then take it far and beyond, hopefully worldwide soon. And that's been my journey. Obviously, it has come with a lot of challenges as well. Joining a family business where your parents are totally involved, your mom has her own way of doing things. It hasn't come without challenges. So I would say we've grown, but we've not grown at the level I would have liked, but I've also needed to keep her sentiments in mind. I remember the first day I walked in after joining her, maybe 2 or 3 months later, and she was drying moringa leaves on the table. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? Your supplier in India, you've been dealing with him for 10 years now. He's got moringa oil. And she's like, no, you can't take away everything from me. So for her, the passion, and you'll feel it when you use the products, the experience, the passion, the healing that's gone into each and every product is unbelievable. So I've never wanted to take them away from it, but make them part of the journey. So it's been a slow process, but we're getting there. And I feel like I also needed to win their hearts and for them to know that I'm not here to take away the brand from them and turn it into a multi-million-dollar startup within months. They still want to be involved. They still want to meet their clients. My parents will still stand at every single pop-up on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I cannot take them away from that. I've tried, but it doesn't work. But I feel like that is the beauty of the brand. And anyone that has come across Sante or come across my parents, that is the first thing they say, that integrity, it's a brand that is extremely truthful. There's a lot of integrity behind it, and there's a lot of experience. So that's been my challenge, but I have navigated with that, and now we are at the stage of where we are looking for investment. We actually started the round last year, but then I closed it immediately because we got into a deal with Al Futtaim through the summer, and we won their Startup X Challenge. And now we've reopened the round because we do want to take Sante global and have it accessible to everyone. And being a startup, I feel cash flow is always the issue. And with the cash flow, we will be able to grow at a faster rate. And thanks to Cicely and Krisha, amazing mentors. I mean, Cicely is just, I can call her at any time of the day and say, I've got this issue, that issue, and she's there to solve it with a mentor, with someone to help me navigate, not the storm, but the challenges that we face as founders.
Thank you. Thank you, Mishti. I think we could all see the passion right there. Over to you, Cicely.
Thank you, Krisha. Thank you, Mishti, for that. So what we want to see is local brands be global. So that's really our goal, right? The potential is here, and we have the global access. So, and another thing that I say for all the mentees is ask. We get caught up in several things. Don't feel bad to ask. Thank you, Krisha, for all that you do for Thai women. It has been really inspiring to work alongside with you when you take out time and drive this program with so much passion and dedication. We also have a great program that works with early stage ideas. We actually, in fact, have our Emirati category winner here who's building an AI legal platform. We work with the youth and universities where we help idea stage move forward. So I know we've taken a bit of time. I want to get into the thing quickly. So Thai Dubai is the Middle East chapter. If you want to follow us and get access to information to our program, just look for Thai Dubai, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. A very special thank you to all the charter members of Thai Dubai, to all the board members who make all the amazing in the chapter happen. Getting into the session for today, I'm pleased to introduce you to Haninder, who is a veteran in the gig economy, and he's the one you should trouble if you're a founder juggling various hats and need specific expertise. So he's the one you should trouble. Haninder is a seasoned entrepreneur and builder. He started his career with Booz & Company, advising Fortune 100 enterprises and governments. He moved to the Middle East in 2014 to manage a high-growth e-commerce venture, leading its strategy and analytics function, raising a $10 million bridge loan and managing a 30-plus due diligence. He further managed winding down the venture road in 2016, which had raised around $100 million plus venture capital since its inception. Personally experiencing a shortage of interim expert talent in strategy and management in the Middle East, Haninder decided to build Strategy Connect that has worked leading wealth funds, government entities, and private organizations across GCC. Haninder, I hand it over to you. Keep the session exciting for everyone.
Can you guys hear me? Perfect. Thanks a lot, guys. Really exciting stories that we heard. So thanks a lot for sharing all the stories so candidly. Now, so the way we want to run the session, so I have stellar speakers with me. I will not hold off longer, but I just want you to take maybe 3-4 minutes to connect the dots, right? We are talking about gig economy, and then we are talking about pitch deck, GTM. How is this all connected? So just a quick journey that I want to talk about is how organizations are atomizing in the last 50 years. Initially, every organization used to own everything in-house, be it high capex or high opex. Slowly and steadily, people are moving towards partnership. So they want to hive off high capital intensive investments off their balance sheet. Recently, with the tech boom, people are also relying on accounting softwares, marketing automation softwares, and trimming down their marketing teams. And now is the phase where we are entering, where people or organizations are also understanding, can they augment or innovate using people on demand, like talent on demand, which are super specialized. Strategy Connect, that's what we do. We have been in the region for around 7 years. We have aggregated around 5,000 independent consultants who work with leading government entities within the region, startups, SMEs, and private organizations. We take 3 products to the market, which is first is, if anyone has a very specific talent in mind, we bring them to the table. We also work startups who cannot afford to hire such premium talent. We bespoke the projects using our technology. And thirdly is experts. If you want to enter into Saudi, chemical business, you want to understand the techno-commercial of a plant, we have also gone into that niche. We work with large institutions, with startups, PE, VCs, investment firms. This is all done through our technology. We very carefully add talent to our network. We do matchmaking through this platform. We broadcast where the talent relevancy is given utmost importance. So this is, I just wanted to bring in the perspective how gig economy is coming into place and helping and working with startup at a very affordable prices and a cost structure. These are just few examples where our consultants, our independent workforce have worked with few brands. Obviously, I will not go into the detail, but more than happy to answer questions once we are through. Without further ado, I would like to please invite the panel to introduce themselves. So I guess we'll start with Neha.
Hi everyone. I think first of all, it's an honor to be here. I, in my own silo, think that I am an advisor to the startups, and now I see here like a couple of women entrepreneurs. I mean, I honestly have not seen the product, but the passion with which you talk, it's just unbelievable. Also, it's amazing to see some ex-colleagues here. So it's hi, Haifa, it's amazing. So I am Neha. I have, give or take, around 20 years of experience across corporates, consulting, a bit of investments. I was a consultant at McKinsey. I left that corporate life about 3 years back. I have been in the entrepreneurial world for the last 3-4 years, both as a founding team member of now, I would say, a well-funded startup, and also have run and led a lot of corporate incubated projects, and both learnings are very important from the scale perspective as well as from agility perspective, right? One gives you scale, the other gives you agility to some extent. Very, very happy to be here, and we'll try and make this an interactive session.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here. My name is Ali, and thanks Tai for this invitation. I saw that there's a Thai woman. I hope you have Thai men as well next year. So I'm a co-founder and CEO of a fintech company called Sulfe. I've been in the space for the past 9 or 10 years. I also co-founded another fintech, so I'm a serial sort of fintech entrepreneur. Recently, I've been working also with the government of the UAE on fintech strategy, improving their payment systems, etc., etc. And great to be here. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is Sakshi. Super excited to be here. An engineer by background. I have like 10 plus years experience in consumer tech and big tech. In India, I started my career as a strategy consultant, worked with companies like Google, here Kareem, now I'm heading growth and strategy for Lenskart. It's an eyewear brand trying to grow in the Middle East. Yeah, and like my whole experience have been like more about developing tech product launch strategies, understand how consumer mind works, and how companies can leverage it to like maximize the output ROI for themselves. Super excited to share these insights with you today. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Caroline. Well, thank you, Nia, for inviting me. Very glad to be here. So I'm part of Crescent Ventures, which is a venture arm of Crescent Group, UAE-based conglomerate, family-owned, that has its roots in upstream oil and gas and diversified over the years. So Venture is one of the investment platform. We invest internationally, so in the US, MENA, India, Southeast Asia, and Europe opportunistically. We do tech and biotech. Series A onwards, 70% direct, 30% funds. So that's for me. Well, thank you.
No worries. Thanks a lot, everyone. So we are really happy and elated that we have been able to pull together a speaker, panel who can deep dive into the topics. So the first part of the session, it's already 6:36. We need to be mindful of that as well. Will focus on the pitch deck, and Neha and Caroline, I guess like Neha, maybe you will be leading the session, and all the panel members and I guess the audience member will also be engaged at certain aspects.
Okay, so just before we start this session, I would just like to understand the audience a bit. So how many of you are how many of you are founders, first of all, here? Wow, okay. And how many of you are in the seed series A kind of zone? And rest of them are above series A, is it? Or below? Okay. Even better, by the way. Even better. Better for me. Better for me. Yeah. Okay. So I think what we are trying to do today is what this session is about and what it is not about. It is important to make this differentiation. What it is about is to just take consciously a step back and think about what works with the VCs as we raise funds. We also have a couple of VCs here, so we'll hear their views as well, and that's why they are important here. I mean, we can say whatever we want to, but all that matters is how they perceive this whole thing, right? So what the session is not about, by the way, is to give you a full checklist of what are the 20 things that a pitch deck has to cover, or for that matter, how to do valuation, etc. For that, I think you have mentors. You can, please feel free to reach out to me if you would like to understand some of these things that I do with the startups, and happy to help, right? So we call this forgettable to funded. It seems that VCs remember only 1% of the pitches that they see. So what makes it a funded pitch is what we are trying to get to. There are countless numbers of frameworks on Google. You go, you see, and they will give you, okay, these are the 10 things that a pitch deck needs to cover, etc. But still it fails, right? So I just saw this today, by the way, which is Mr. Vaibhav. He's the CEO of at Better, which is a pre-seed series A kind of, or rather pre-seed, 100 million VC, relevant for all of us. And this is what he says, that pre-seed to series A deck building for founders who suck at their decks has a large TAM for a bootstrap business. So basically, we may think that Google is telling us a lot of things about, these are the 10 things that somebody, your pitch deck has to include, etc. But still, obviously, we are not going anywhere. So it's a relevant topic. So let's just spend perhaps 5 minutes to hear from all of you. And all of you must have drafted some sort of pitch deck, because pitch decks are not relevant only for us founders, for you founders, it's also for consultants. I have done this in my previous life, for corporates, for sales, everything, right? So let's just, for a second, specific to the founders, what do you think, how do you make your pitch document stand out? What have you heard from your mentors, or what do you think are the key elements? Story, absolutely. Yeah. So story, highlighting pain points. Yeah. This is important. Short, absolutely. Problem that you are trying to solve, which is similar to the pain point that you are addressing. Numbers, okay. Numbers is, everyone wants to see numbers, but we'll discuss how important they are at the pre-seed level. Yeah, I think scalability, yeah. Scalability has, of course, conceptually very important, but eventually the go-to-market has to define the entire scalability and how agile the organization is to support that scale. Sorry? Target audience, absolutely. And this is also very important from the perspective because as we grow, we realize that sometimes we have to repivot everything because the target audience who we thought perhaps were not the target audience or want to see the product differently. Many other reasons. We have gone through a repivot journey, as Caroline, you know. Yeah. Sorry? Stage? Absolutely. This is very important because anything that we do in the pitch deck is very stage dependent. It is very dependent, and we'll see what that means as we reflect on the elements. Yeah, the team. Yeah, how all of this comes together, right? This is the whole storyline essentially. Yes, so founder background. Yeah, so let me put it differently, right? Let's say path to profitability. Let's call it that because you will not be profitable from day one. So let's call it path to profitability. Couple of other last suggestions. Yeah, I think Caroline is going to love this. Easy to understand. Because we were having a conversation in the morning and she was like, I don't want to leave the room without understanding what the person has said. Okay. And by the way, sorry, just to build on that, the easy to understand is a very important point because as young and early founders, we have so many things on our mind, so many things, and we want to say so many things. and we end up saying and confusing, right? So it's how much to say and how much to leave and how much to believe that the VC understands is also to some extent an art, yeah. Yeah? So let's take all of this, right? If you see, there is one thing that I think, Mishti, you did not say was, which you did very well just now. Yes, absolutely, right? Passion, we can call it passion, we can call it emotion. But every single founder, we will all agree, has a reason why they started the company, right? And that is very, very important to communicate. So I think there is a whole thing around the storyline has to include your passion and your personal story behind it. So let's just see, right? All of this that we have discussed, here actually can fit into 3 broad buckets, and this becomes your checklist. And now there are more things under each bucket is a separate point. Sorry, I'm an ex-consultant. I have to talk in buckets and bullet points. But infuse authenticity, everything around emotion, around your story, around your passion has to, and founders, comes under authenticity. You started it not for the sake of it. You started it because you wanted to do it, right? The second thing is presenting clear and concise content. A lot of Google material here, like, what it should have, your problem statement, everything that we have discussed. We'll see that, and we will put a layer of what you said around at what stage, what element is important and more important. And then ensure fit-to-purpose communication in the sense that as a founding team member who helped the founder raise a couple of rounds, I can tell you that there are so many questions people will ask, and the outreach is so extensive that there are certain set and types of documents that should always be ready. So that's a bit of tactical thing and what these kind of look like, right? So let's see this a little bit, right? So what does it mean? We saw a model example of what it means to tell your story and infuse or be authentic or infuse emotion, and that was Mishti You, right? I mean, I'm going to go and buy this product. It's as simple as that. But let's hear a little bit more, right? I will share my story. What I realize is even with the startups that I advise that are at the seed, even Series A level, even some Series B level, sometimes the founders just don't share their personal story because people in general avoid they don't like when they come across as a little bit vulnerable or share their emotional stories. So let me tell you what made me join North Ladder as the founding team member, right? And I think, Haifa, you also know this. I didn't want to be a founder. I wanted to be a founding team member. And I was thinking of 3-4 startups on where I should join at an early stage. And then I joined. What does North Ladder do? North Ladder is a digital trading platform for second-hand electronics, and majority of the trade is on iPhones, right? And I joined because one of the things that always stayed with me from, like, let's say 7-8 years back was that my parents said that we cannot accept an iPhone as a gift because it's very expensive, Neha, right? And that stayed with me for a long time. And I think all the VCs who have spoken to know that now my parents have an iPhone, and that is a second-hand iPhone. So that's a personal story I have. But Ali, what about you? Would you like to share how?
So basically, I was working at a bank, and so I'll give it a bit of context about Sulfe. Sulfe is sort of a corporate financial wellness platform, right? And basically what we do is we give instant cash to salaried employees on their salaries. And that was back in 2015. I used to work in Jordan. And Jordan was not as developed today in terms of its financial infrastructure. So no financial institution, no bank, no credit union would give you cash on spot, right? So it's always a lengthy process. So the idea was, like, if we get to the objective, if we get a solution where you can have access to instant cash to deal with emergency situations, then that would be a jackpot. And so everything that we did was around that. And because it was a novel idea, we had a lot of drive behind it. We had to make it happen. Obviously, it was difficult from a credit standpoint at the beginning, given that if you wanted to do it for people that you don't have credit history for, it would be difficult to sort of collect, etc. But then we came up with a B2B2C model, where basically we integrate with employers' payroll systems, and we'd be able to take the deductions off their salaries. Obviously, that was not a sort of a market-wide solution, but it sort of served a huge number of people in terms of their ability to access such cash. And we've been very successful with that. We've integrated with almost 60 government employers. So that's around 70,000 individuals around that. And we'll be able, at least we'll be able to accomplish that within 2-3 years. Yeah.
I think, Haninder, your experience is also...
Would love to share that.
Yeah.
So I think, like, I was a very scared consultant moving from India to UAE. It was an e-commerce venture. I just wanted to experiment and then perhaps go for my MBA, Ivy League, the standard roadmap that we all have in India, male engineers. I came here, and after joining, within 4 months, my company started firing people. So there was a restructuring that was happening. Somehow, for good or for bad, I grew rapidly within that firm. I took on larger roles very rapidly, and realized that when it comes to managing the cash flow of a company that had raised $100 million from a blue chip VC in US, in the region, you need to be extremely tight in managing the cash. And talent was one of the aspects that we struggled significantly. I think it was a good 2-year crash course for me, how talent is structured in the Middle East. It's so hard to get people on time. It's so hard to roll off people on time and get the right expertise when you need. So it was a good 2-year struggle to really think about. And then in the end, that venture wound down. And one of the major problems was not having right people at the right time. So that really gave me that inner drive, and we wanted to solve this problem for the region. We understood that how talent market is structured in India, in US or in Europe, but we knew that this is a wide space, no one is playing in it, so let's try to target it. So I guess, this really came from own struggles.
Thank you, thank you. So essentially, the whole idea of these examples is to say, just feel free, share freely with whoever you are speaking to on why you have chosen this path. And that actually is so relatable that's one of the reasons why you as a founder will kind of stand out. Now, very tactically, right? What are the elements that one has to actually cover in the pitch deck? You can slice and dice it whichever way you want. You will always come up with some sort of subset of these elements, right? Now, the key message, we will not go into the details of these elements other than, of course, the GTM, where there will be a session. And in certain other elements, we will just take some case examples and share some very tactical tips in terms of how to make that section interesting as much as we can. But what is this green and yellow that you see, right? This is basically overlaying, to some extent, what element is kind of what elements are non-negotiables, and what elements are, to some extent, flexible during your journey from pre-seed to Series A, Series B, etc. So what does it say, right? Your vision and your team up front, and I heard somebody also say, I don't have a co-founder, for example, right? And hence, so your team, your mentors, your advisors, who is your early backer, that is important even at the ideation stage, right? What is your vision is very, very important at the ideation stage. Other things, for example, the overall market context. What exactly will be your financials? What exactly will be your value proposition comes. It comes slowly. And it is okay. Basically, this is to say, it's okay sometimes to say at various stages that we don't know. And take the help of, even when you are pitching, you will realize you will learn so much. I mean, I have learned more about my business when I have forced myself to actually put all the ideas into 3 or 4 slides and try to kind of, raise money and then forced to answer very difficult questions, right? So let's see some of these things, right? Problem definition, of course, from the ideation to validation stage, it evolves. Market context evolves, because from the ideation to validation stage, you will go through multiple pivots, multiple iterations of your own product. What is a market and what not, right? Similarly, if you take traction and trend, right? I think till you seed stage, Series A stage, traction and trend can be seen in different forms. For example, early stages, it'll all be input parameters. How many partnerships do I have? You will not have a number. I mean, I don't know what the output is. It's not a revenue company right now, for example. Of course, this is not written in stone. Different products and different situations are different. But in general, this is where honesty in your pitch deck also differentiates you from others, right? I don't know how in 4 months from now my product is going to perform, but guess what? What I know is that there are 2 repivots that might come up, and in those repivots, my organization is ready to do those repivots, right? That kind of conversation, which becomes a more problem-solving conversation, is more relevant for the audience here, because we are in the ideation and validation kind of stage, right? So these are very, very important elements, and
so just 30 seconds on this, Neha, right? So as founders, we are always scared that, we have to cover everything. But it's very important to be cognizant. It is all right to not have certain points nailed in the pitch deck and still be confident and raise funds. Because this is something which, I have learned with time. Like earlier, we used to go to the investors like, oh God, we don't have traction, what to do? We'll cook up some numbers, and it shows. It shows, and investors then, the guy is not confident. So I think that really helps put the context and be cognizant what to focus and what not to focus on.
But Caroline, your views on this, because you see this every day.
Yes, no, I do agree that we usually don't go into pre-seed and seed stage because it's very different animals than Series A. As you mentioned, because it's a vision and a team. So you need to bet on a vision and a few persons. Whereas when you go in Series A, you have more confidence around product market fit, start of attraction, and the potential financial protections. I would still put use of funds as a requisite for all pitch deck because when you give money to someone, you want to know how it's used.
Okay, so we make that green basically use of funds, and I agree. We debated this, by the way, Caroline. Yeah.
No, because it's important because also it shows a focus of the funder because then, I mean, what will the money be spent on? Is it marketing? Is it building the team? Is it building the product? So you need to know, I mean, if he's focused on what is you know, he wants to build. And I do agree in terms of team, it's always good to show the advisors and the ecosystem around the founder because it's always comforting to know that he's been able to, or she's been able to to meet with the relevant people that are able to support her or him during the journey.
Yeah. So here, I think we all saw that the person who's trying to raise the funds wants to keep use of funds vague, while the person who's giving the funds wants the exact Excel sheet on where the money is going. Fair enough, and that's the healthy balance. But I agree. I think it's also a little bit of formatting error. I think we should start at least at the validation stage to have exact use of funds. What we did actually here was just list down a little bit, extracted from Google and list down a little bit of key points under each of these elements so that it kind of serves a little bit of checklist for you. We are not saying this is comprehensive or exclusive. It's just at least a guiding factor to your pitch decks, and we'll share that this with you. Now, the last thing, right? When we were seeing all this, somebody also said it should be brief, right? So I think at any point in time, when I talked to the founders, the best of the founders, I have realized that they have at least these 5 formats always ready, right? And again, it depends on the situation, and the depth of this depends on the stage of the startup. But mostly at the at the seed and at the Series A level, wherever a PMF has started to evolve, you need to have these very, very clearly ready, right? What are these? No rocket science, but let's just consciously spend 2 minutes to absorb this, right? 1-page elevator pitch. This is super important. And this has to be catchy. Today, most of the introductions actually happen on WhatsApp, right? So this is the most important one, in my opinion. The second is the 10 into 20 into 30 pitch deck rule. I don't know if you guys have heard about this rule, but it's 10 slides, 20 minutes, and 30 font size. This is an absolutely amazing rule because it forces you to put everything in 10 slides, and the 30 font ensures that you are not complicating your messaging, right? And 20 minutes is then the presentation time. Product demo deck, especially for any platforms, any tech-related situations. Why this is very important? Because more and more and always, VCs do a lot of tech due diligence. And many times, slides just don't do justice, right? And hence, a very clean video of how your product is working can enable their tech DD people to ask you the right questions. Otherwise, there is so much time wasted in whole discussion around what tech, what data lake, on top of the data lake, what are the analysis, what are the AI, and so on and so forth, right? So it's important that a product demo deck is ready as a starter for anybody who wants to do a tech DD. Strategic partnership decks, part of go-to-market, and of course the comprehensive investor deck. So just to give you an idea, the two, three recent startups that I've seen would have this at, just to give you an idea, none of this is set in stone. This is approximately 40 to 50 slides. 10 we have discussed. This is generally 3 to 4 minutes. and the one pager is a one pager. Just to give you an idea on what I'm seeing in the market, right? And this is what personally I have also followed. But at any point in time, this is it. And as a founder, every Friday, if you have not spent 30 minutes taking time out and looking at your deck and updating it, then I think you are not updated to think on how the market is thinking. So that's important. If any questions, comments, great. Otherwise, we will very quickly go to some examples and some tips and tricks on how to refine these elements. Yeah, sorry. See, if you follow this rule, by the way, of 10, 20, and 30, you will realize that 80% of your beautification requirements will come down, right? When does a slide actually require huge beautification? It requires when the font is 10 and you are I'm just exaggerating to make a point, but when the font is small and you are trying to put many, many messages in, correct? But if you are telling me, and I will show you a few slides, right? If, for example, for an early traction, I have 12 numbers to show, then an icon and the number, and I will show you that slide, is enough. So, and hence there is, in my opinion, there is science behind this 10, 20, 30 pack because of exactly what you asked. There is no point of just continuously making the deck beautiful. That said, the deck has to look decent. Because I was coming to her to comment. That said, the deck has to look beautiful, and over to Caroline to see what she sees and how does it look like.
The thing is, we're all biased. So I did some financial consulting where the deck needed to be beautiful. So I'm always a bit, struggling when the deck is really bad. I mean, even if the content is good, but just, check for grammar, like good wording, and it needs to be a bit pretty. Not perfect, but pretty. Let's put it that way. It's just like it's the first thing that you see, so it's a bit difficult then to start with on a good foot, I would say. But that's the difficulty of raising fund. It's just you can have the best product and the best team, and if the presentation is not really no, it's not that you don't get the funding because then you deep dive, but it's just like it kind of, it's I wouldn't say I would dismiss. I don't have any defined criteria. It's just like it has to be, professional,
That's VC for you, yes. So again, sorry. Oh, yes, absolutely. So McKinsey has nothing to do with this because I also, as a founding team member with the co-founder, led a $10 million pitch. And all of this is, I would say, Middle East and Europe VCs. Yeah, so Europe and Middle East VCs. But I also want to build on what you said. I think knowing your audience is extremely important, right? The elements that we cover here will never change. I think these are the elements that everyone would want to see. Everyone would want to know the story and the personal story, irrespective of how it is presented. Everyone would want to know all the 10 elements, right from what is your vision to the use of funds. So I think those are the things that are perhaps common across. But yeah, but to this point, I think I was just, so what I was trying to say was that when you do the 10 rule, you automatically reduce that pressure on yourself. And then but the hygiene of the document shows actually how perfectionist you are. And any professional who actually sees the document would want to see a perfect document. That's a given.
I think the passion really translates through a call or a meeting. Yeah, but then we don't, I mean, the screening criteria will be like a problem that is being solved, product, like addressable market. I mean, maybe the product is amazing, but the market is tiny, so it doesn't make sense. Scalability, I mean, there's a lot of criteria, I mean, that enables you to do
Before
the triage.
meeting.
Otherwise, I mean, you wouldn't be able to do investment because you would be meeting founders all the time. I mean, just like, so no, you need to have like criteria to sort that. And then if there's a meeting.
And can I add to that? Sorry. I mean, the VC environment here is not like the US. And even if you look at the US, there are a lot of startups that get money from family and friends. I mean, I personally know a few. That's how they started off, and then they went out for getting big funding. But the VC environment here is still different, family, who you know. So that's why you see the same faces in the same circles. Still very, very new and like.
Time frame that 10 by 20 by 30. So I've seen pitch decks, founder being given 3 minutes to 5 minutes, sometimes even 10 minutes. So is there a time frame which will be applicable to that particular?
Yeah, so that's basically 10 slides, 20 minutes, 30 font. 20 minutes? Yeah. So 10 slides, 20 minutes presentation, and the presentation is on 30 font, by the way. Yeah. Fair enough. So what we have put here is not set in stone. It's just various formats that are there. For example, you will see pitches that are 3 pages and 3 minutes, or 1 page and 3 minutes, for example. A lot of one-pagers that you see there actually are fully associated with a 3-minute pitch actually in an elevator, right? So the answer is somewhere in the middle of all of this. The point is that various formats have to be ready, and you should be ready with different types of formats simply for different types of conversations as you reach out to people. Right? The first one is WhatsApp introductions, elevator pitch, 3-minute pitch, like you said. It doesn't need to be 1, could be 2 pages, it's fine. But the idea is for you to think what formats are relevant for you and what stage you are in, so that you're spending enough time in building those.
It also depends on what stage you are.
Absolutely. See, the thing is that even the 10, 20, 30 rule, or it's like I said, it's not set in stone. The 10 can be 12 or 13. The point is a very simple, clean presentation, regardless of which stage you are on. And then of course, your comprehensive investor deck has all the details, including font 10 business plan, basically, right? Okay, so we go to the examples very quickly. Yeah, sorry.
We need to be cognizant of the time. So it's 7:10. Maybe let's spend another
5 minutes?
10 minutes. Let's
10
take 10 minutes and wrap it up because the GTM.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll see a few slides and we'll try to see what's good and what we can actually make better. So let's see this. The title, I have two, okay, it's not animated here, it's okay. If you see those 2 pictures, you see the titles there, right? So the first one is the Next Gen Edutainment Platform, And the second one is the one-stop online destination for buying new cars. Do you think anybody will remember these? So one of the ways you can think about a title of the slide, or rather the overall title of your presentation, is alliterations. For example, let's look at this: Marketplace of Magnificent Machines. People will remember this. Okay, I'm not saying it's the best, by the way. Please don't judge me. But look at the last one. For a second-hand car dealer, it could be carefully curated certified cars, right? So essentially, when you are building, alliteration is one of the ways that you can think about phrasing your titles of the slides or your communication to make an impact and for people to actually remember. So it's how human mind works, right? They will remember a phrase which is a little bit action-oriented. This is, it's written actually, the answer is written, but can somebody tell me what is great about this problem statement slide? I had myself not thought about it, by the way, till I saw these slides when I was looking at this deck. So just so that you know, what's there is the first left side slide that you see is a problem statement by a home food F&B player, and they define the problem from consumer's perspective and the investor perspective, and then they deep dive on the consumer and the investor. Yeah, that's right. That's an interesting point. Yeah, it's a different perspective. Yeah, defining the need for clarity for that. Yeah. I think that's the beauty of this, right? I have never done this, but when I saw this was amazing. What this founder has done is he or she has taken the effort to define the problem statement from the consumer perspective, and then has gone into research how some of the VCs are probably not doing well in their F&B space, and how this is solving that problem for the VCs. So think about an investment committee sitting at the VC side. They might find it very interesting. I'll skip this. On the market size, competition, and collaboration, I will only cover the collaboration point, simply because we all know what is size, we all know what is competition, etc. But many of us actually miss the collaboration side. What is this collaboration side, right? Think about you as a startup. You are most likely serving other startups or established companies, etc., or Series C, Series D companies, and so on and so forth. I think one way to make your point that you are going to grow is also to see what is happening in your ecosystem, what investments are happening in your ecosystem. So for example, this is an example of actually Northladder, which is into secondhand electronics. And if you see, these are all kind of collaborators, and all these collaborators have raised money from large investors. So that says indirectly a lot about that this sector is going to grow, and gives the VC a bit of comfort that, you know what, it explicitly gives them the comfort that the ecosystem is growing and a lot of respectable VCs and other investors are investing. So this is what, to your point, I was going to compare these two slides, right? See, this is a traction slide, and this is a traction slide for a Series A kind of situation. This is one slide, and this is the other slide. So while both are important, perhaps so much text is not required, because the VCs understand. The so what on the slide doesn't always need to be written. That's so to say, the point. Okay, one more thing, and I am very passionate about this particular topic, is that founders are very, very important. There is just no doubt about it, right? and they are accomplished and aligned with each other. So we have seen a lot of these slides, right? However, many times we should make slides which actually move from accomplished and aligned founders to actually skilled and supported teams. Can you differentiate your team? Like, especially if you are a solo founder. What about a slide that goes to the N-1 and N-2 level to show commitment on who all have joined and is going to support you, right? This is, lot of times I've heard from the VCs, they would like to see what's happening on the ground. And this is one of the ways to show what's actually happening on the ground, right? And the last thing, this is personal. It always will depend on your situation, etc. But we all have these one-pagers that we just talked about in different formats, etc. But we always would want to have an executive summary ready. There are different types of executive summaries, and positioning matters. And knowing what is the executive summary that is relevant for you matters. For example, here you see an executive summary, and then you see here an investment thesis. Just by reframing your mind from saying, I'm going to summarize what I do, to why should you invest in me, can make a very huge difference. I'm not saying that one over the other, different contexts and different things. However, if you keep thinking continuously about your investment thesis, you are putting yourself in the VC shoes. And the moment you put yourself in the VC shoes, you start summarizing the most relevant things. So think about not making an executive summary, think about the investment thesis, and then derive the executive summary from there. Some of these things are the things that worked for me personally, and the founders I work with, and the discussions with Haninder, Ali, Caroline, and everyone, and no hard and fast rules around these things. Thank you. Any questions, anything, or we go to a bit of Ask a VC session? Let's do that? Yeah, sure. So Caroline, this is for you, huh? Yeah. So, question, if you could invest in a startup in any fictional universe, what would that be?
So, that's because
and
of
Peppa Pig is out of scope.
No, it's going to be the Octonauts. So it's a cartoon. So my kids watch it. It's an educational cartoon. It's very cute. It's a little animal. I mean, actually half fish, half vegetable. That live in the sea, obviously, and are trying to solve problems. And they're ingenious, they're explorers, and it's very good. So if you have small kids, I would recommend that show, The Octonauts. Yeah, it's on Netflix. So there's a few movies, and also it's a TV show, like 4 seasons. So that's on one side, I think. So probably, I'd say like early stage. Companies. More late stage would be Dune. So, with like powerful VCs that are trying to squeeze minority shareholders and, like power struggle. But yeah, so those two universe, I guess.
For me, at the Series B stage, in case all parents here have not seen this, The Monk is going to be the Series B. Okay, what is the quirkiest or the most unexpected startup idea you have come across?
Yeah, so it was not presented to me, but it's actually a friend of mine that considered working at that company, which was very strange. So it was a robot valet. So it was literally to park cars in parking in airports. I mean, that's useless. I mean, you're not really solving a problem. Well, thank God he continued his career in aerospace, spatial and industry, so he's very successful. But at some point, he wondered about joining that company, which, to be honest, doesn't really change the world, but yeah.
What is the one thing that pisses you off?
Well, there are several things, actually. But no, I mean, the most important thing is really to, get out of the meeting and to have understood what the founder is doing, because there are some meetings where, it lasts for an hour, and you still don't know what the company is really doing, and that's obviously that's a path, obviously. Because in my previous firm in the Netherlands, there was a partner that was like, okay, if the person is not able to tell you everything he does in 15 minutes. It's just like, it's a waste of time. So he would schedule calls of 20 minutes. I mean, exactly like that, which is not really the case now. It's always an hour or like 45 minutes. So there's that. So we invest also in the US, and in the US you come across very arrogant founders that do a lot of name dropping. So I know Alon and I know No and you're like, okay, no, that's not
name dropping.
Yeah, name dropping. That's not my thing. If there are two people on the call or in the meeting, dynamics within between the two people is very important. So people that keep interrupting one another is like, for me, it's a bit of a not a red flag. It's an orange flag because you don't know how they interact with one another. It's a bit strange. I think that's probably it.
Last couple of questions. What is the typical ratio of forgotten to funded? I'm interested in this.
So probably less than 5%, honestly.
5%.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, the problem I've seen is really like you have great founders that are building amazing products, but are not really good salesmen. And unfortunately, in this industry, you need to be able to pitch properly your idea. On the other spectrum, you have great salesmen who are selling, excuse my French, shitty stuff, and they manage to raise a crazy amount of money. And so bridging the gap is a bit, that's what I would try to solve. I gave Nihat the example of Zoom Pizza that died since, who is really like, the guy was amazing, and he was really trying to make, robots making pizzas in vans, being delivered to your place, and you're like, yeah, but no, why not? But So
and the last one.
Yeah, funniest message. It's just like I receive weird stuff on like building gaming in the metaverse with NFT and tokens. So that that's not my thing, that's really, why the metaverse? The real world is very nice. So that's not really my thing.
Super. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Please feel free to reach out to me for any suggestions to give me or to take. Either way, thank you.
So that concludes the first part, right, which is the focusing on pitch deck and investor presentation. It's 7:22. We had allocated 7 to 7:15 for the breaks. But I don't know if the audience feel like taking a break right now. Otherwise, we will overrun. So let's try to close the go-to-market till 8 p.m. so that everyone is free, if you guys are okay. Let's continue. Let's keep up the momentum. All right, perfect. So next session will be on go-to-market strategy. I guess Ali took the hint and he took the break. Okay, let's wait for him to come back. By the time he comes, maybe I can do free marketing for myself. All the screenshot that you saw is powered by Strategy Connect, all the projects that our consultants have done. So it's like real pages, real stories that has been shared today, nothing made up, nothing hypothetical. And thanks a lot to Neha and Carolina to giving really on-the-ground insights today. You have the... Yes. By the time Ali comes, any open-ended question, if any one of you have, happy to take on. Maybe I can start arranging the flip chart, but go ahead, Cicely, please. So 7 out of 10 engagements that our network does with startup is on pitch deck, investor presentation. The focus is more on the storyline, how to make it compelling. Because as founders, we are always stuck into the day-to-day operations, right? We are not able to pull ourselves out. What is the message we are trying to tell? We think that we are telling it nicely, but if you start getting feedback, then you also tend to get defensive. So that's my personal story as well, by the way. So you need that third pair of eyes to really pull yourself out of the details, and that's something that we have seen founders value. And second of all is financial plan. Many founders are comfortable with numbers and many are not. So they just need a good overview. How can I engineer my numbers, right? What are my revenue drivers? How do I structure my cost? How am I value my business, right? Valuation is always one of the top questions that founders have. At an early stage, it's more art than science. I think every one of us have experienced it, but we tend to give them some tools how to defend at least a number when they are trying to talk to investors. So yeah, those are the key aspects that founders would always focuses on. Please. So typically we have, so the fundamental of gig economy is how to be cost efficient. By the time a startup reaches Series A, Series B beyond, they do tend to have their own teams. They have their strategy teams who can do a very good enough job as well. So that early stage to pre-series or Series A is where we see 100% of our requests, essentially. Because then they cannot afford, someone like Neha, ex-McKinsey consultant. So over there, we tend to devise process methodologies that even someone like Neha can come in and help structure a pitch deck of a pre-revenue startup. I guess Ali is here. Man, you were the only one who took the break, by the way. So I will just organize a flip chart. This is a session where there will be what we call internally struggle session. There's a lot of work that has to be done by the audience, unfortunately. So I will just pass on the mic to Sakshi. Just kickstart the session and I will organize the flip charts by the time.
So, when we talk about go-to-market strategy, what I have seen, the common misconception has been people think it's all about marketing. Digital marketing, performance marketing, branding, we'll go to customers, talk about it, put on social media, but no, it's not. The real elements of go-to-market strategy is actually about understanding your market in a best possible manner. Okay, yeah, actually, I have already given the answer, but okay. Can you tell me if anyone wants to pitch in, what do you think is the most important element of a go-to-market strategy? Yes. Talking to customers. Okay, but then how do you define the customer? Yes, right? When you say talking to the customer, you really have to know who your customer could be. Creating those ideal customer profiles through the market research becomes a part of your go-to-market strategy. Because, for example, I can talk to a person from my experience. I'm a retailer, eyewear brand. Now, is my customer someone who is super premium, or is my customer someone who is looking for fast fashion, affordable segment? So defining who the customer is before going to them is another become a very critical element. What could be the next one? So, yeah. Yeah, that's correct. Maybe you have defined your customer profile for one market, but what about you're launching into another market? Now, what you thought your customer was, that might or might not be true. For example, even in the Middle East, a customer in Saudi Arabia is very different from the customer in UAE versus a customer in Qatar or a customer in Oman. Their spending profiles are, the way they spend is different, where they spend is different, how they approach the product is different. So that's, again, there are times when you have to reinvent your customer profile as well while you're expanding and growing the company. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Oh yes, totally. Okay, so as a company who is just launching in the market, to understand, I tell you I have done from everything standing outside a mall, and I spent my full I think a week in Saudi Arabia malls just to understand the customer, just to look at them and see how they're spending, when they enter a store, whom they talk to. And I was doing that alone, without even understanding a word of Arabic. And then next time I took someone who actually knew Arabic and asked that person to went into every competitor store, talk to the customer, talk to the person who was selling at the counter, just to then understand what are they asking for when they enter. Are they asking for, okay, give me Ray-Bans, or are they asking for what suits my face? That tells me, gets me into the customer's mind, so as a startup, hustler kind of a mentality actually helps you in the market research. I'm not saying it's the right or the only way you can do it, because data set, this way you collect is very small. But it will definitely give you some kind of, higher level idea to start building your further strategy. Now, when you go to a market research company, you don't have to ask them to go broad, which will cost you more money. Now you can tell them, actually, I have a younger audience between age to 18 to 30, females, fashionable, let's go for them. And that will actually help you reduce your market research budget by a huge margin. B2B businesses, I think
I think, as a founder or as a startup, you need to be cautious with actually spending money on market research, because that could be super expensive, especially for the budgets given whatever money you have to bootstrap there. So I think it could be a combination of two things. One of the things that we've done, we used to operate in Jordan and we wanted to expand to Bahrain, for example. But we worked with HR managers or employers in particular. So we needed to understand certain legalities of let's say, the employment contracts. So we'd go and speak to HR agencies. We approach them on LinkedIn, very basic stuff, right? And then you can do a lot of research also through databases on Google, whatever it may be. So you just need to approach people within the segmented market that you want to go to. So in our case, it was HR managers, payment companies, exchange houses. Just sit with them, understand how they think, etc., etc. This should help a lot in formulating what could be the approach to the market, so to speak.
I can give it a first go, right? So I think that's the daily challenges in the founder's life. And sir, you are absolutely right. When you are trying to understand whether this service or product I'm taking to the market, whether you have customers or not, I think the only way to tackle this is to take decisions faster. If you're failing, and this we have also experienced it, if you want to go back to the same product or services, don't shy away. That I failed it's in my list of crossed items, but let's go back and see, because I'm seeing some initial traction. So that happens, and definitely funds crunch is a real situation at the end of the day. Founders have to take an educated guess. They might have 30% of the data, but they have to take the full, assume the rest 70%. So it's a real struggle. There is no answer to that, to be honest. But and that's what, and I'm sure other founders would have, can also talk about it. But that's the daily agility, nimble. You cannot just sit, oh, let me try for 6 more months. Let me try for, then it doesn't happen. But absolutely, we have seen it many times in the market.
Yeah, to hand your point, like you need to find the product market fit. So if you find like some traction, that should help you. Like even if it's a different product. But yeah, there is no one answer fits all. So for example, in our case, we had to change a lot of the product parameters. So we'd still give like emergency cash, but it would be for example, for remittance reasons, or it would be a maximum of 6 months repayment rather than 2 years. So I think just working around those details would also help a lot. For your question, I think if you're a first mover in the market, then you have that privilege to sort of like if you're entering to a market where you don't have competition, then you can say come up with ideas that has not been implemented before. But if you're going to a market that you already have a couple of players, then it would be difficult to sort of come up with something new, right? I think there is a fantastic book written by one of the co-founders of LinkedIn. It's called Blitzscaling. I think every founder should actually read this book. It's about how you position yourself as a founder, given the competition in the market. So essentially, you have this first stage of a startup life where you find the product market fit. This is what you need to do. And then you go into scaling up the business and then into how the business becomes mature. But then also this is very dependent on the competition in the market. And this is something that you need to be very extremely cautious about and very important to take into consideration. Blitzscaling. Exactly. Just start with one vertical and then move to.
Okay, so I think here we are, like this slide is also showing like what's the importance of a GTM strategy? Like as a startup, why you should be considering investing into making a proper GTM strategy. And this is because research has shown that companies who make proper GTM strategies, they just grow in profitability and revenue at a much faster pace. And we all know why. It's because you have actually identified your customer, you have identified the right channel, and you have identified competition, and you know how to enter the market. Like you have a correct strategy, even to pivot. If something happens, you know how to like go back to your drawing board and start like just understand. Because you already know the market, it will be much easier for you to recalculate your decision and like go back to it in a much faster manner. So that's why we are here.
Okay, so should we start with the GTM canvas? Okay, so basically, and just give you a bit of context of what we did in Jordan, which is a sort of financial wellness platform. So we tried to expand the solution to the Bahrainian market, right? And then what we tend to find based on market research. So the trick to having a good go-to-market strategy is to really have a deep understanding of the market, the personas, and the demographics of your targeted audience, right? So we found that our business development strategy in Bahrain wouldn't work in Jordan, wouldn't work in Bahrain, right? And we needed to find another approach. And the approach we took, and we also found that the same product that we had in Jordan couldn't fit in Bahrain. Why? Because our solution was like an emergency cash. So in the GCC market, like the majority of it, there is no good product market fit. People wouldn't need that because they have enough discretionary income that they wouldn't need like an emergency cash. But would you say like, it's a question to the audience. Do you think an emergency cash product would work in the UAE or in GCC or in Bahrain for any segment of the market? Anybody could answer? Such as? Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what we've done. So we changed our whole scope because in Jordan we used to sell to government employees, right? And in Bahrain we changed the whole scope to the blue collar segment, which is a huge segment in the GCC in particular. But what we also tend to find that the employment contracts, because we're giving these loans against their employment contracts. And in the GCC, employment contracts are with a limited period, which is 2 years, right? So we could not like sort of have loans that extend beyond their endpoint. So we had to change the amount of installments to actually to be aligned with their contract sort of expiry date. What we also, based on research, we found that 60% of blue-collar workers, they send their money back home, or 60% of the majority of blue-collar workers, they send money back in terms of remittance. So essentially what we did is we partnered with exchange houses, payment companies that do remittance work, and we provide these advances for remittance reasons and not to be used within the Bahraini market. So a lot of these, like we still have the initial sort of cash emergency, but then we changed a lot of the parameters, right, between the different markets to fit the needs of that market, right?
Question like on this, right? Because you must not have done a detailed market-like research on how to address the market and how to change the offerings. What did you do to get all these insights on the ground?
Yeah, so essentially we've done a lot of research online, definitely, but more than that, we've sat with HR companies, we tried to understand the ecosystem in general, the financial infrastructure in Bahrain, and it's pretty much advanced, right? So we sat with, for example, Benefit, I don't know if you know it, but it's more of the credit bureau in Bahrain, right? And they would tell us like how advanced the ecosystem is. They have something called wage protection system, which is based in, like you have it in a lot of GCC countries. And a lot of these companies that hire blue-collar workers, they send their money through exchange houses and not through banks. But it's quite expensive for banks to run their payroll, right? So rather than, like, for example, in our strategy in Jordan was to integrate directly with employers, right? In Bahrain, our partnerships were really with exchange houses and payment companies. And this is where we do the deduction and not at the employer level. Yeah. MPs.
Net promoter.
The default, you mean? Yeah, so exactly. So basically what we do is, this is a more of a secured lending workaround. So basically we do the deduction when we do a partnership with an employer, for example, they do the deduction from their salaries directly. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like an unsecured lending sort of product that it has to be paid through the employee. It is a corporate product. But then it's more of a distributed to their own employees, but then it's happening at a corporate level. So in terms of collection, we didn't even have a collection agency. It was a fully digital process, and this is how we did it. Can you go to the canvas? I just wanted to show. So this is, Sachi, probably you want to sort of explain more here, but these are the go-to-market components. But I just wanted to show like the difference in the value proposition, right? So in Jordan, it was like the value proposition was having instant, a fully digital cash advancement or emergency cash advancement. That was the value proposition. In Bahrain, it was access to credit, because that segment in particular, that blue-collar segment, was not served at all. Like there was no other players except for us in the market. So we were the first sort of kind of mover in the market. But in Jordan was like you had credit cards, you had credit unions, etc. But then our focus was let's do this and let's give them the money in 15 minutes, and then it should be a fully digital journey. So this is the sort of distinguishers when you sort of, you might have the same product. My point is you might have the same product, but you have two different value propositions when you targeting different markets. So.
I think.
I think the plan was to have struggle sessions, but it has turned into a Q&A. But yeah, I guess maybe we can try to attempt a struggle session now. Just take this case study and kind of come up with the pattern.
Yeah, sure. I think we can do and I think this case study will actually cover the question which on the customer side, which we're getting during PMF, we already know the customer, we feel like product market fit has been done. So in our case, we are omni-channel Indian retailer and manufacturer of eyewear. In Asia, 1,500 plus stores, so already really established brand. Started in UAE, did well, opened 15 stores. Now planning to go to Saudi market, but 0 customers. Now, what do you think? Because brand has been proven, product has been proven in multiple other markets, but you not being able to take over Saudi market the way we plan to, now what do you guys think could be the problem here? If you have any kind of, just take up, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Sorry? Sorry, yeah, okay. Yes, I think all of them are right in some way or another, when you said affordability perception, it was not affordability perception, it was the Indianness perception of it, right? So when it comes to these part of the world, people want to be associated to some kind of premiumness. They want to be something that is curated for them. And when you come across as a mass manufacturer, retailer, Indian, instantly the customer lose interest. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry? Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Exactly. So, and why we were a success in UAE, which we thought would be replicated. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. No, you're correct. So, why, and I said, we were successful in UAE. Why? Because 60% of the population, expat, Indian, or subcontinent, right? Who knows Urdu, Hindi, able to connect with the brand, knew the founder, like a celebrity founder. So here, the idea of we will be able to replicate, our customer segment will remain the same, and we will not have to revisit our go-to-market strategy, was actually detrimental. We lost, social media too, right? In UAE, Instagram is a great channel. Saudi Arabia is all Snapchat. And we didn't even have Snapchat as a marketing channel. So again, revisiting the board, even however big brand you are, we thought the Indian celebrities will actually work for us, but no. No one actually cares about Katrina Kaif here anymore somehow. So that's the thing which we thought, okay. And hence, at any stage of the company, when you're trying to go to the next step of your growth, it could be new launch, new product line, or new market, GTM always is super useful to stop you making from those mistakes. Uh-huh. Yes.
Do we have to change the product to put in that market, or will it be justified if we put the same product with a different price tag here and a different price tag there? I mean, is it fair or? I wanted to know that.
Okay, so this is a very, those kind of questions, I just don't want to the fairness of it. But as a business, your objective is to make money. Now you are in a market where people have a larger wallet size, and their willingness to pay is higher for fashion, right? The consumer, just for research, in UAE and Saudi, people will pay more for eyewear. Because they are used to Pradas and buying Cartiers. If they are at, for example, 1,000 dirhams, and I'm asking 300, I'm affordable, still cheaper, and I don't have to go to the Indian market price and ask and give it to them in half the price, which I know my, also these markets, you have to understand, though the product is cheaper somewhere else, but to get the product is not getting manufactured here. There are like more associated costs. The store prices, the rent is much higher here. The labor cost is much higher here. Exactly.
Yeah,
There's
but-
multiple ways to go about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think what you need to do, first and foremost, is to use the market that you're going to, prices, as your benchmark.
Yeah.
So this is how you price. Even if you want to like do a premium on the price that you want to do or whatever, you use that, the prices within that market as your benchmark, and then you can price. This is how you position.
Exactly. Like you have to understand that what you are coming into the market as. Here, like the value proposition comes into picture. Okay, I'm here as an affordable, fashion-forward eyewear brand. I want to disrupt the market, and that is my strategy. Now, the market disruption can happen like either you like pricing is a key lever, right? When you want to do the disruption, like I will give you the best product at the best price. And now what the best price is, like Ali said, like you do the market research, like go see what the competition is like, what are they selling at. Now, you can sell like 10 dirhams lower than competition 50 or 100. That is totally on your profit margins, like how much margin hit you're willing to take or what is your growth strategy like. But yes, you can justify the price increase too because operating in a different market with a different set of salary standards, cost standards, definitely you can. Okay. I can go more into Lenskart.
So I think just maybe one point I wanted to capture, right? So when it comes to go-to-market, we touched upon channels, we touched upon pricing, the target, like all the target audience. So first aspect is the planning part, and the second aspect is the implementation part. I guess maybe will be helpful to understand till what time you stopped doing boiling the ocean, preparing plans and after plans, and saying, okay, now is the time to pull the, to go for it. So maybe if you can explain that journey, when is the right time to say we have enough data to invest and expand the market now?
Yeah, sure. Like, it's like you can take 1 year, 2 years, keep building GTM strategies, but that will actually not help the business, right? It's more about it's in the execution. And I would say try fast, fail fast, learn fast, pivot fast. That should be the strategy. You can keep waiting forever and it will not result into anything. So what we did was actually because it's a big market, big brand, big company, big CEO, so that you just cannot, cannot just jump into the market without real research. So we took 3 to 4 months to do proper research. And when I mean proper research, is we actually created 4 consumer profiles. We call them ICPs. They are called Ideal Consumer Profiles. And you know them so well that, okay, for example, is Gen Z trendsetter consumer. Now I actually know what this consumer will like in terms of styles, where I can approach them in terms of channel. How will I reach out to them in terms of my marketing strategy? How will I actually reach out to them in 30 days post-launch, 60 days post-launch, 90 days post-launch? Once this much strategy has been created and I have a fallback plan, okay, if this does not happen, I am okay to take a hit of X amount of dollars. And once that has been discussed with the leadership, it's time to just go, go, go. You just always need to know, if this does not happen, how I'm going to pivot. That's it. So have a plan B and plan C in place, just in case. So if you have a plan B, plan C, go for it.
In a go-to-market strategy, you also need to take into consideration what product you are proposing versus that market. Because, for example, if you have a food based on product, you cannot bring to Saudi Arabia, for example. Or if you have a medical item, you might need a special approval from ESMA or whatever is the authority. So I think here most things we refer like to fashion, so easy things, no? But if you go to technical, we need to be pre-qualified in a certain employer. So there are also many complicated things we need to put before.
And we did that. Eyewear, we have contact lenses. Medma license and the Sabre license has been a massive struggle, right? It took what the launch, which could have been done like 8 months prior, it just got extended because we did not research. I think we researched the process well, but like did not hire the talent in the country to help us at the right time. That we, for example, that Saudi Arabia requires each and every product which you have, each and every barcode to be registered in their server system so that you can ship it from India to Saudi. Otherwise, it will be get blocked at customs. B2B, you just cannot ship. Now, our shipments got stuck at the customs. It took months and a lot of money to get them out. So yes, you're correct. And that should be the part of the market research which you're doing, right? It's market research is not just about customer and competitors, it's actually about geopolitical situation, the social challenges, protection, legal aspects of it. So yes, definitely. That becomes a big part, especially when you're entering a country which is like completely different in terms of how you operate, right? Like India has been, UAE has been super easy. But getting a green channel to Saudi Arabia, not easy.
Yeah, that's even a bigger challenge in the fintech space. In our case, because we're in the lending space, for every country you go to, there is a central bank that governs very different regulations from another country. So I think the best approach we've done, and some of them are advanced, some of them are not, some of them have sandboxes for testing your product, some of them they don't. So essentially having good relationships with the regulator always helps. And in our case, we've been part of the CBB's, the Central Bank of Bahrain sandbox for almost 18 months. Which helps us to test the product. So before you can sort of launch your product in the market, like go full with the product launch, you can test up to, so for example, 200, 300 loans just to get some feedback. This always helps, but it's not always the case with all the markets you go to, unfortunately. Okay, so I'll answer probably the first question, and maybe you can take the second question. So for the first question, obviously there is no like sort of a magic answer to that as well, but I think the best approach is to, once you capture the majority of your market share within the market that you're in. So it's not advisable to go to another market where you still have market share within your own market you're going you're actually in, because this is going to be very costly for you. Right? You cannot, so for example, you're at a pre-Series A stage, right? And you have a limited amount of budget and you haven't captured the current market you're in. It's just not wise to stretch into another market where you will have to hire like for another team, you're going to double on your OPEX to try to prove that you have a market in that, a market share in the new market, and you haven't captured a market, you already have a good product market fit, for example. So the idea is to really capture the majority of the market you're in terms of based on your numbers, and then you either come up with a different vertical within the same market, which helps you or adds more value to the initial product that you had, or then you can take the same vertical into a different market.
Yes. Right? Sorry, can you repeat the second question? Supply, yeah. Okay, so since you have taken Airbnb example, and I'll just give you my opinion on this, right? If I'm Airbnb in UAE and I'm trying to expand here, and I need more supply, getting into another market will not really help me gain any kind of market share. And because my resources will be divided, right? And like Ali said, you really need to know if you are not able to expand your supply in this market, or you're actually being saturated, what's the reason? Is it because people are not willing to register their apartments with you, or customers are not interested in you? What is the reason? Because see, even getting from one market to another, when you're leaving your territory, you should have your reasons very clear. Okay, now I know in UAE, malls have ended, I cannot open more stores, Saudi it is. You know, like, or it's like, there's no chance for me to open in high street, online is not growing, Kuwait it is, Qatar it is, because you need to have your reason in a very solid, like even if you're retreating or expanding, just understand in your current territory what has happened, like, because you just cannot, with a limited pool of money and resources and talent, which we have all talked about today, until unless you're very sure that you just cannot do anything about it, the reasons are very, very solid, don't go for another market, just for the sake of it, just for the sake of increasing your inventory, like you said, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's like about what influences your customer in that market. So when I said celebrities like Bollywood celebrities, right? So we know Indian consumer is actually driven by them. The consumption, like every purchase, if you like, the market research shows that in India, 60%, up to 60% of the consumer decisions are made because they saw a celebrity like Virat Kohli or someone actually selling that ad on TV or on radio. And that is the mindset of the consumer. But in UAE and Saudi, there is no celebrity culture, it is influencer culture. Now we follow people on Instagram. There is like micro-influencer, macro-influencers, you know, like lifestyle, and like, even like it's very community-driven culture. Like we don't, there is no, I would say, Bollywood kind of a structure here, right? So now in this market, if I just keep banking on the fact that, oh my God, I have a big Indian celebrity, I will fail. I have to go into the micro-communities. And like for in Saudi Arabia, even influencers not work. They do work, but people, since because of the political, not the political, the cultural restrictions there, people don't really post on Instagram. They want Snapchat because stories get deleted in 24 hours. So now how to tap into that kind of mindset, right? Because then you have to create, like curate your content, which is engaging to person. For example, like TV ad is like 30 seconds. I can show so much. Instagram ad, 6 seconds. Snapchat, literally 4 seconds. Now telling my value proposition from like 30-second to a 4-second platform, now that's the key. Now that becomes your, the way you, the creativity aspects and your marketing aspects come into picture. Yeah. I think we're on time.
Thai folks, Cecily, I guess. Any other questions, guys? I know it's 2 p.m. We don't want, sorry, please, please.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, because I agree, like performance marketing, there is no limit to it. Like I have seen companies with millions and millions of dollars, right? Established brands, they spend endless amount of, and it's a stream where like Temu, for example, Temu and Shein, they have been 10% of the Facebook's revenue is actually coming from them. So imagine like what kind of money they're putting into performance marketing. It's like billions of dollars. But not everyone can do it. So what I believe, like initially, especially when it comes to digital marketing space, do your A/B testing first. That's what I suggest. It's like A/B testing first in terms of what platform works for you. You have to be very intentional in understanding what is your consumer base. Okay, pick one platform at a time. Go heavy on it. You don't have to be present on Meta, Google Ads, PMax, ASC, Snapchat, TikTok. No. You can't then do that way. Then you will be like really spreading yourself too thin. Pick one platform, go heavy on it, understand it really like deeply. Ensure that if you're doing Google PMax, you understand each and every catalog ad that is running there. Like be very intentional, because this is that kind of a loop where once you go into it, there's no coming out of performance marketing. Like it's you have to, and that's definitely hiring the right team for it and really processing your data. Go through each and every number which you're getting from these ROAS, the ROI of each campaign. Otherwise, you will end up burning money without anything to show for it.
And just to build on that, right? If you just go into one channel for the marketing, you will buy and if there is no trend, that's generally a red flag. And actually the product would be great, but the red flag is simply because there was not enough money to buy different channels.
If it's a new product, organic would be really difficult for you, right? Like you can organic, when you're launching a new product, organic usually is about nailing your SEO strategy, right? When someone search for fun sunglasses to fun sunglasses to buy near me, I should show up. Like my SEO strategy should be on point for organic content to happen. And then blog post, writing, reaching, being present in more in the PR format, that when someone searches what's the best brands of eyewear near me, like I'm just talking from my context, I should come at least in the top 10 results of Google. Now that becomes more on the organic part of it. Like when people search for me, I should be available. But initially you have to start with paid marketing. I don't think any startup, at least with, I don't know, I think Haninder will be able to put more light on it. But early startup, 85% of your traffic comes from paid marketing. Then you gradually shift 50-50, and hopefully, if God wishes, you'll go more towards like people with will come to you organically without having paid traffic.
I want to.
Yeah, I think I will use the opportunity to do again free marketing. This panel was brought together through the network that we have gathered. I'm very thankful to Ali, Neha, and Sakshi. We were on the call late last night from 10 till midnight 30 and just hashing it out. So thank you again. Thank you, Tai, for organizing this. We enjoyed every bit. I hope that you guys got 5% at least value from this.
Thank you. Okay. So make sure you've done your check-in for registration so that you get the... I have 2 questions though, just for the audience. So I thought the session needed to be longer. That's what I thought, because we were trying to finish quickly and there's a lot of questions. There was some other interactive brainstorming that was planned, which we have not done. So I just want to know, would a session like this work better in the morning, or is it a challenge to actually come for longer sessions? Can I have a show of hands for morning sessions like this? So the rest are evening, okay. Obviously then, okay. Okay. All right, no, I just thought there was so much, and also brain time is better in the morning, I think. This. Do people like Saturdays? Can I have a show of hand of, it's still a minority. Yeah, just 4. I know that you can continue to talk to them directly. Let's close the session. We'd like to... No, I would like to really thank Haninder for the support, and for founders who need this sort of help, right? I mean, do connect with him so that, I keep hearing so many founders trying to do so many things at the same time, and you're not an expert at that. So if you are able to access that expertise for a limited time, then that kind of helps you step over that phase that you're in. I would like to really thank everybody on the panel. We have a small token of appreciation. Piero, may I call on you to give it to our speakers? Ali's always taking a break. Neha. So Piero is our Director of Finance and Board Member. Chef Bobby, I would also like to call you. Wait, Haninder.
This will be my second, by the way. I think they need to give it to you.
Come, and